really fun. Sorry, everyone, we had to switch times because Mercury had a moment with us. Mercury retrograde had a moment with us. I guess we'll just call it that. Or I overslept. I'm not really going to tell which one it was, but that's fine with me. So, how are you, Mark? What's going on?
The same as everybody. I mean, all the outer planets are retrograde right now,
Yeah, and like,
and Mars is at the end of Virgo. Uh, I think every second of every day is just a struggle at this point.
yeah, I couldn't feel you on that one. It's been like a lot of things, and it seems like it doesn't end. It really does. It seems like it's been a lot of things going on. And I mean, July was not the easiest of months to go through, but it seemed to me, maybe I'm wrong, maybe my perception is wrong. It seemed to me until just today, actually yesterday, today, that things were going a little smoother. We had like a little bit of a reprieve, but now it's kind of going the opposite direction, back into crazy town again. Is that what you're feeling too?
Um, my so so people with Mars and Virgo in their birth chart, I have a lot of friends with that, and I'm good with that. Just as uh, my problem is when anything is at like 19 to 29 degrees of any of the mutable signs other than Pisces, then
Hmm.
I I'm just that whole time period I'm just in fixing chaos mode. That's so like Mars, because I have the Uranus Pluto conjunction in Virgo, and then I have the Pisces stuff in late Pisces. So anything in like that last 11 degrees of Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, just pretty much just I'm just treading water at those and then Mercury's retrograde, and all four of the outer planets are retrograde. So I'm just waiting till like August 10th, once Mars is out, and we uh, just last night at about midnight, Venus left Gemini for Cancer, so at least that's a little bit calmer. But yeah, it's just trying to trying to get anything. I mean, and maybe it's I have Saturn conjunct my Sun, so maybe I just try to do too much every day. But it's just a constant like I'm trying to bail water out of the sinking ship, and there's like
And you're doing it
27,000
with a thimble.
holes. Yeah, it's just
I hear you on that because I've done the same. I feel like that's what's been going on with me, like on a literal sense. Every time I turn around, I fix something, and one more thing goes into a little bit of a like, oh no, chaos is gonna happen here now. And it's like,
and
oh my gosh.
what is what is the obsession with IT people always wanting to do computer upgrades only during Mercury retrograde? How there's no IT people anywhere
Right.
that do astrology, and it's like
That's hard.
it's an obsession. And then like I spend the next 3 weeks just like cleaning up messes.
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. I can see
so
that.
here's another. I'm just gonna send this whole thing into the gutter. so
Do it. Let's
so
hear it.
so do people think that like astrology was created in the 1960s, and that it's like this new thing that somebody made up like in the summer of love, and during the Vietnam War, and that's when astrology, because like astrology is like over 10,000 years old. Like every civilization that has any artifacts anywhere on the earth, they found that every society ever has used astrology. Like I feel like astrology is treated like it's this new age thing that some witch living in a deserted cabin in the woods came up with like 50 years ago.
Well,
Like
that would
astrology
be
is
the
over 10,000 years old.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've done some of the like looked into the history of astrology. I mean, from what I could research myself online, so I'm not, a history buff. There are people that are astrological history people, but just so I could give my students an idea of what's going on, where we came from, like just so what you said is true. And so they have bones that are tens of thousands of years old with etched in symbols that they believe is the cycles of the moon. So we've been
right,
as a species, like I wonder, like it makes me wonder weird stuff, right? So I wonder things like, well, does that mean that like cats somehow know that about the cycles of the moon? I'm not saying they're etching it in bones like we did as humans, but like is my point is I say cats because I have 4 cats, right? Which one of which you might see he's a little crazy and loves to come in and hang out, but um it I wonder if everything in nature has the experience of understanding what's going on, that some cycle of there is playing around down here. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like we're all like inherently in this fluid understanding of something is going on in the world that is a underlying
right,
motivating thing, right?
right, right. I mean,
I
'cause
mean,
I think there's people who don't know the language of astrology that are intuitive enough that they can figure out you know when there's warning signs or red flashing lights to warn you about things or to and it's like I don't know I don't understand what people think most of the time. It's
yeah,
like there's astrology books on Mercury retrograde that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and it's like I don't understand why people insist on making what is already a difficult planet um, like 100 times more difficult than it has to be. I don't get it.
yeah, it's challenging. I don't understand why they would do that either. And it seems to me that tech people do put out new updates and things like that. If I can wait to update something, or if I need to purchase something like a phone or anything like that, I really will wait till after Mercury retrograde. I remember one computer ages ago, you and I were talking about that, and I was like, if I purchase it,
Yeah.
it's like right because my computer broke, and I was like, oh no, I can't wait 3 weeks for one computer because I only had one at the time. And I was like, if I do
Right.
it just before, like the day before, do you think it matters? Because it's a shadow. And I ended up buying it the day before. But yeah, it was just like, oh no. Because I mean, sometimes you can't help it. If you need a phone, a computer, whatever, you got to do what you got to do. But if you can, I mean, and I don't understand why the world doesn't understand that, we are influenced by everything around us. So it does make sense to me, at least, that we would want to utilize every tool that we could to make things the easiest, the best that we could. Maybe AI will put that together. Not that they're going to be astrologers, because they're the worst astrologers. I've tested AI a ton on that. Like
Right.
they don't even know what's going on in the world, which is hysterical. But I wonder if it will put the idea of what it is math. We're just looking at the stars and we're mapping them. Why wouldn't it work? It feels like it should. It makes sense that it would, right? So my point is, I guess, in all of that little rant there was that I feel like, the world misses out on something because they're not necessarily seeing the whole picture by not seeing the astrology in it too. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I just I don't know about that. Like down here, like to me and my brain, like school should start like August 23rd or so, like the day the sun enters Virgo.
Oh, that would be
That's
smart.
when people going back to school. They've just continually moved it up. Like they start school like August 12th or something up here. Like
Oh,
they like
wow.
every year they just move it up a week. Like like
That's
don't send people back into a classroom where half the air conditioners in the school are broken in the middle of Leo season.
yeah,
That's
that's
just
crazy.
stupid. It's just stupid.
It is crazy.
Like
It is something else. Um, yeah, it is. Just so you know, I sent you a document where I was compiling a bunch of different like top stories that might be related. So if you want to look at that while we're talking about the astrology, just pull up your documents. It's in your
I,
you should have an email for it.
I pulled I pulled I pulled it up already.
Okay,
Already got
cool.
it open.
Yeah, so we thought we might just share some topics too in this video, along with the astrology, just kind of to show what we're talking about in the real world examples, because I think that's kind of cool to do. And, you know, this is what astrology is real. So, one thing I want to do, I want to mention a couple things before we dig into the astrology. One is I'm speaking at a conference. Okay, applaud. I'm just kidding. It's the the Fractal Cosmos conference is at the end of August. You can go to fractalcosmos.com and you can see all about it. It's a vibrational astrology conference. So it's really cool. I'll put the link in the chat too, so you guys can go into there, and the description box. I didn't do it yet, but it's going to be fun. It's an online conference. So if anybody's interested in it, it's very inexpensive. And next year, I'm really excited about this because I'm a board member of the Cosmobiology Institute, and we are putting an in-person live conference in Tennessee. So it's going to be evidence-based astrology. We're still looking for our speakers. We still haven't, as a group, voted on our speakers for the conference coming up, but we have those people. We have that coming up too. That's going to be at the end of April. I'll also link us to that in the chat and in the description as well. So those are things that are going on. And the last thing I wanted to mention, if you're interested in learning astrology, I teach astrology. I have a class starting up in September. Mark does consultations. So if you're interested in meeting or connecting with either of us, you can connect with me, communicate with me, or even, reach out to Mark on social media. So I'll have links to all of our social medias and stuff in the description box too. So I think that's helpful to know. Mark does really great evolutionary astrology consultations, and he's the one I go to if I'm like, oh my God, the planets are killing me. Well, which one is it? It's Pluto right now, because Pluto is right on my MC and my sun. So I'm in between that and my Venus, which is only like at 5 degrees Aquarius. So I'm having a lot of fun with Pluto.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like looking at August, like there's not that many like big transits like for August, but I think that the four outer planets all in very, very, very tight aspect to each other has created so much like chaos and disruption that we don't need anything like there's like you had pointed out, I think on last month's show, that there was a bunch of midpoint things and stuff happening, but it's like we're in another world right now. I'm
Yeah.
hoping after August 10th, like much Mercury's direct and Mars at least potentially slows down a little bit when it enters Libra and leaves Virgo. I'm hoping things calm down a little bit there. Um, to admit, it's every day is just
It's a fire.
uh, it's yeah. Clown World has no peak, and that that saying gets proven true every single day at this point. Like I don't need, like I've not slept through the night in like since Mars has entered Virgo. Like I get up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night every night. Like I can't. Like I'm just like my body just like vibrates the entire time. That like all day and all night, pretty much. I'm just like tapping my foot or something like constantly. It's like that the energy level is so insane that like I couldn't even tell you what happened like 3 days ago or anything. It's just a giant wave of chaos that like never stops.
Yes, like for instance, me, I woke up at like 8 or so. My air conditioning in my bedroom broke, so I'm sleeping on my sofa, which is super comfy, whatever. But I have a kitten who I would love to show you guys. Might have shown you last week or last month, I don't know, but he's a little tiny terror kitten, of course, because that's what all kittens are, terrors. And I have 3 older cats, but I won't talk about my cats, but they are named by planets. So his name is Sol, by the way. He's my little Sol, like Latin for the sun, because I already have a Luna, like Latin for the moon. But anyway, I'm talking about my cats now. But I went into I woke up, I got up at 8 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, wow, the table got knocked over. Like, what the hell? It was a cat's, it was Sol. I'm like, so I climbed through all of this mess. I started picking it up, and I'm not even caffeinated yet, which like I can't formulate words until I kept myself caffeinated. So I go to my machine, I get coffee, and I drink some water. That's my little routine. I sit back down on the sofa, and honestly, I knocked out. Like I fell right back asleep, and it was like I couldn't even believe I did that, because but I wake up not just like that I'm tired, because I really did get a good night's sleep, but it's like I'm like charged. You know what I mean? All these planets at these like
Yeah.
0 degrees are hitting my sun and my moon. My sun is 0 degrees Aquarius. My moon is 0 degrees Capricorn. My Saturn is just 29 of Gemini, so it's like, I mean, it's right there. So I'm getting it from every single angle.
Oh,
And it's like but I'm exhausted at the same time. It's crazy.
oh yeah. Yeah, we talk about that all the time here. It's like uh, continually exhausted, yet you can't get your mind or your body to shut up.
Yes.
Like it's just you're just on this like it's like internal adrenaline surge that like it only stops when you're so exhausted that you just like pass out and can't do anything else. And then it just takes like a few hours like in your body, like as soon as you pass the minimum amount of exhaustion you can deal with, once you get just above that level, then um, like you're up again. Like Christine's mentioned headaches and buzzing. The
Yes.
headaches is that's the Saturn Neptune in Aries, because Aries rules the head. So
I've never. Hmm.
anytime there's stuff in Aries, like headaches are like through the roof, and the buzzing is Uranus. I mean, that's Uranus and Pluto are they're not exact trine, but they're within like a degree and a half. I mean,
I
they're
mean, we're pretty close
and
there.
Saturn and Neptune are conjunct, and Saturn and Neptune are sextile to Uranus and Pluto, and Uranus and Pluto are trine, and Mars is in Virgo and Mercury's retrograde. Like this is like it's like in like this is the exact polar opposite of the 2020 energy, to where everything was just an ass grinding halt, where just you were sat down and you weren't allowed to move or do anything. This is the exact opposite of that. Like this is like everything must be moving and changing every second of every day, and it's like it's I just feel like nauseous half the time, because like nothing
Nothing is stable. The stability
Nothing,
is like,
nothing ever stays settled, or nothing ever stays fixed, or stable. It's just a continuous carnival ride.
yeah. And it feels like with all of what's going on, we just talked about the all of the outer planets. I like to think of it in the sense of they're all starting these 0 degree shenanigans, right? I mean, Uranus itself is like, that's alone is just a thing going right over my Saturn, right? So the idea is that our stability, our, when we think of the planets, the inner planets are things that we're psychologically working with. The outer planets archetypally, they represent what we're doing on a global, thing. So the shift that is happening from them all in those early degrees of signs, and I mean, Pluto is a 1 degree, but and I mean, I think Neptune is right now too, but I mean, they're shifting back, and when that happens, it's like our Earth is shifting. Did you hear about the earthquakes that were going on yesterday? The Ring of Fire earthquakes. They were saying a tsunami was going to hit. They were saying
So,
tsunamis in in Hawaii. Did you hear about that?
yeah, yeah. I've got a somebody I used to work with lives in Hilo, or close to it, and that's where, yeah, she was showing pictures on her Facebook, and it was like, yeah, there was this. And then too, I saw even the Galapagos Islands was, they were evacuating everyone. I mean, that earthquake in Russia the other day was like an 8.9 or something,
It was. I thought it was an
or an
8.8, but I mean 8.9. I was like, what's
I
the difference? At that
yeah,
point.
it's somewhere. Yeah, I saw multiple between 8.7 and 8.9. So it may ended up being an 8.8 because they adjust that stuff afterwards sometimes. But yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It really is. And I mean, usually those kinds of earthquakes are like one happens. I don't know if you've ever really paid attention to that. I'm sure you have, Mark. But it's like they're not just one. They're not isolated incidences. Usually they have like the tremors that happen afterwards. Maybe not as
Yeah,
big, or maybe bigger.
aftershocks.
Yeah, I actually really want to do. I've done a little bit. I've looked at it a little bit, but I haven't done any like official research on earthquakes. But I think that would be a really great topic to like research.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I fell down that rabbit hole several years ago. I mean,
did you?
usually around like, yeah, usually around like the outer planet stations
Yeah,
is when it gets really hectic, especially like, you know, trines are really good aspects, and they, most of the time they deserve it, but sometimes you don't want there to be trine. Like Uranus
yeah.
trine Pluto is the very easy for a lot of destruction.
That's the thing. They
It
want
does,
to. It wants to flow, but if it doesn't,
yeah.
things get chaotic and it gets stuck. Right? If things cannot flow, then it gets there. That's when the problem happens. That's what I noticed, like on a
Or,
personal level. But yeah,
or I mean, Uranus is chaos and disruption, and Pluto is death. So you don't want those flowing well
yeah.
with each other. So I mean, it's like, yeah,
That's
it
an
is.
interesting point that Sarah brings up. She says plenty of AI videos out there. She doesn't believe any of it. I mean, I don't know. That's a that's a good thing, because a point, because there are lots of AI videos out there, and but I don't know, what do you believe? That's part of it too, with the Neptune Saturn thing. And I got in this whole like my little diversion of the chaos, looking at the Saturn Neptune things going on in the world. Saturn, I mean, and what we're doing in the world is like we're fighting for these ideals that not just we, as in me and Mark, but like everybody has these certain ideals that they have in the world, and they're so stuck on them that they're just like they're gonna die on that hill because they're stuck on them. Like and this, they won't see any other kind of like thing outside of what they believe to be their little thing, you know. Have you, I mean, I'm sure you've noticed that a lot, you know, and this is happening globally on like a political scale, which we don't even need to get into that, but we could. But also, you know, on a personal scale, people feel like they're, you know, they believe in something and it should be this and that's that, you know. There's a, and then there's the smoke and mirrors that come into it, you know. The smoke and mirrors is the Neptune part, you know. It's really
Right.
something, you know. And this is just a prelude to what we will be seeing more of next year. I mean, coming up to next year too. I think it'll still be going on. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to, I mean, it's going to be even more intense once we get into next spring. This is just the like 2 month preview. Like it's, I'm hoping like once we hit September 1st, I would think things would slow down a little bit because that's when Saturn's going to retrograde back into Pisces. And then shortly after that, um, Neptune's going to, I think it's probably November, Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces. And then Uranus is going to retrograde back into Taurus closer to the end of the year. So hopefully it's, you know, like I've been telling people on my Facebook wall, like pay attention to where your problems are, you know, for July and August, because whatever those problems are, you're going to have this, you know, this fall, first couple months of next year to kind of fix those things or tweak them, streamline
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
you can, anything that you can get, you know, anything that you can make run smoother. You got these 2 months are going to show you what needs to run smoother. You got this fall or early winter next year to figure it out. But then we're like, I mean, we've got, it's going to be 2.5 years like nonstop once we get into next spring, because we're going to go till April of 2028 when Saturn enters Taurus, and that's the next time that it's going to like slow down. And the other thing, well, I've got 9 other things in my head. other Another thing that's happening is with all the planets at the very low degrees, um, the four outer planets at the low degrees of their signs. We're getting these really long. Like right now, we're at the was it? It's 12:30. We're in hour 37 of the moon being void of course. So we went all day yesterday. The moon was void all day yesterday.
Oh.
So from just before midnight Tuesday night until an hour from now, the moon's void of course. We had 38 hours. It was like 37 and a half or something of the moon being void of course. Like we're getting these really crazy long. I mean, usually the moon void of course is a couple hours, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. We're constantly we're constantly getting these like 30, 38, 40. Like we had a 45-hour moon void of course a few
Yeah.
weeks back.
Yeah.
It was like that's 2 days. Like
It's it's
that kind of
amazing.
stuff doesn't happen in the real world.
No, it doesn't. It's really weird. It's hard to believe, and if you don't it's hard to like go through when you have the moon void of course and you're like not aware of it. You think to yourself, wow, today seems like a little off, things are low, the energy's low, but then the next day it's like you're manic depressive and you're like, oh, things are good and you're better, and whoops, there goes water. You know, and things are better and things are going on, and the next thing you know, then like another long void of course moon, because it's not just a couple hours like the normal, I mean not normal, but I mean typically it's not very long. They're not very long, not like they are now with all these like planets in the lower degrees of a
Yeah,
sign. That's the thing.
because
Yeah.
you've really got to plan your weeks out now. This when you've got 1 to 2 days at a time where like you can't really do anything of importance. I mean, you can do laundry and cut the grass and go to the grocery store or whatever, but like you can't do anything of importance during a moon voided course. You're just going to be going back and redoing it. So you've really
Mhm.
got to like. I have. Oh my god! If I had a nickel for every um, Facebook post on my wall I've seen in the last month, that is somebody's went to a doctor's appointment during a moon voided course. Uh, they didn't have their appointment on record. They got a misdiagnosis. They got a I don't that's one of the things about it, like that I think astrology helps. And you don't have to live out every bad scenario that is possible. You can you can see what other people are going through. You
Yes.
can see when other people are doing stuff, and it's like, I went to a job interview or removed or whatever on this day, and it's like, yeah, like Mercury's retrograde, all the outer planets are retrograde, and it was a 38-hour moon voided course. Like
Yeah.
what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
It's like you started off with 19 strikes against you. Like,
Yes.
uh,
Yes. And that's the thing. When that happens, it gets a little bit like, oh no, because you don't expect it to be that way. You expect it, like your normal life to be a certain way. It's wild that happens. So, what would you say the key star player is of this month? This month's astrology.
I meant
The moon.
to.
I actually love the full moon in Aquarius just because I'm an Aquarius. I was stellium in Aquarius. But yeah, I don't know why. I always love the full moon in Aquarius. Chaos.
It, I forgot to pull that. I forgot to pull that one up. I have to let it load here real quick. Oh no, wait, it's
Do your animals act any different during these like times of like chaotic stuff going on? Because I know you have a lot of animals too.
oh
I have cats, but you've got farm
a lot
animals.
of times when the moon's voided when the moon's voided course, it, a lot of times they'll sleep the whole day or most of it.
Really?
Um, yeah, a lot of times more than I mean, there's I don't see like a major thing for this month. I mean, it's the Mars entering Leo, and then we do shockingly have one really good aspect in the middle of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think really the theme for this month is the four outer planets all being in masculine signs.
Yeah,
It's
and yeah. What would you say,
um,
because they were in feminine signs, they all were, and they're retrograding back into the
yeah.
masculine sign. What would you say that shift is like? I mean, we experienced already the shift of them going from feminine signs to masculine signs. Now, what is it like from masculine signs back into feminine? I just said that backwards, but you know what I meant.
Yeah. So
Yeah, going back into masculine signs.
yeah, so when they go back into the feminine signs this fall, I'm hoping things slow down and there's a period to like self-reflect a little bit and to
Mm-hmm.
look back on July and August, and it's pay attention to where the chaos was and where it was coming from and what the disruptions were, because you should get insights on how to fix things, or at least know the areas that need fixed. I mean, the whenever anything moves from like a feminine sign to a masculine sign, that's putting your foot down on the gas pedal. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's just it, speeding things up incredibly. And just to have, you know, all, I mean, Pluto's been in Aquarius for a little bit now, but I mean, the other three are all, you know, it's just the middle of this year when Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune moved into Aries and Gemini. And it's not even like any of them have moved into like Leo or Libra or anything, which has a little, you know, Gemini, Aries are like full blast. Like those are really masculine signs. I mean, those are just like, you know, Aries is full out, just run over things. Just always on.
Yeah, like totally. My daughter is an Aries sun, so like lucky her. But yeah, she's actually triple fire, so that's a whole other thing. But yeah, there's a huge shift in the energy of things when that happens, and you know, it makes me think of the idea of you know, going soft, the softer feminine energy where things seem to be less pressure, and then going into pressure, which is the masculine, in trying to keep up with that change. If it was one planet, it's understandable. Anytime an outer planet changes signs is a big deal, because it takes 6 years for them to happen, sometimes a decade or more. You know, it really depends on the planet, but it really is. And then having them all do that together and then making the aspects to each other during it is like this amplification of all of the things that are going on all at one time in the same, you know, the same thing. And it's really, it's enough that we have Saturn and Neptune conjunct each other, and then we have Pluto and Uranus also saying, "Hey, we're gonna get in the party." that it's like on shaky grounds. I did do some. Go ahead.
Yes, it's a bunch of misbehaving children egging each other on.
Yes, like a pressure cooker.
They feed. There's no adult in the room.
It's usually the adult is Saturn. But
the kids are home alone, right?
Yeah. Saturn's like, no, we're gonna play with Neptune over here. We're gonna be delusional and like let things be crazy.
Yeah. I do want to mention one significant thing that I've seen that I maybe wasn't quite aware of was going to happen before, is with this Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, like everyone's like subconscious and stuff is alive now. Like I saw that part coming, but what I'm not seeing is I think for most people it should be very obvious where we've been deluded, or you know, where we've been hoodwinked or something. Like it should be much easier right now, especially with Neptune out of Pisces and Saturn out of Pisces. Saturn and Neptune both leaving Pisces and being in Aries, that like we should be very clearly seeing where we're being lied to and where things were not what we thought they were. And I could, in the political arena, that should be very obvious at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and the political things that are going on in the world, if you just watch a little bit of it in news in the country you live in or the global news, it's really crazy. You know what? It's funny because Christina said Saturn is Delulu. And I like that. Delulu. But yeah, Saturn is usually the one to bring the structure, and the structure is now being clouded with the idea of, you know, Neptune here, the thoughts of it, and then it's being sparked with imagination and a compulsion with Uranus and Pluto mixing in with it.
Well, and Saturn rules Capricorn, so Capricorn and Aries are square to each other. So
Hmm.
Saturn is not happy being in Aries. Saturn wants to slow down and meticulously go through things,
Line by
and
line.
yes, analyze things, and put a at least somewhat of a structure to things and have things somewhat organized. But even like Saturn is not happy in Aries. It is not, and it's mixed with, and it's like, and with having Saturn conjunct Neptune, Neptune's not happy in Aries either. So it's like you have a foot all the way down on the gas pedal, and your other foot is all the way down on the brake pedal. So it's like everything has this jerky motion to it now. The start, stop, stop again, change plans, destroy the original plan, brand new plan. No, that doesn't work either. It's like just getting anything done at all is like like we have to be our own Saturns at this point. Okay, because it can be easy to just fly off with all the Gemini, Aquarius, Aries energy. It can be, you can just run off into the woods, but like this is where there's got to be a little bit of self discernment and you know pick and choose the battles and whatnot. And two, all the other planets are retrograde right now. So you don't have to make a final decision on stuff right now. This is a good time to take in information and kind of wait till it settles a little bit before making casting your final vote. It's not election day yet. You can still weed out candidates and stuff. You can still kind of see how things are going to play out a little bit before making your final decision, your final move on things. In fact, that's probably preferable right now because we're not in this energy we have right now is not. Once we get to September, it starts mellowing out over the course of like 5 or 6 months before we go full speed into crazy world. Um, so you've got a little bit of time to. It's just I think it's important to sort out what the biggest problem children are, and at least start making a list of ideas on how to, and lists of ideas to
And lists of ideas.
and lists and name all your cicadas and
Each one of them, not the brood, each cicada, and then we have lineages
each
of the cicadas
individual.
where they came from. The brood that they came from can be their last name, so we can go with that, and that will be how that
Yes,
works. I think I have it all mapped out
yes.
in my head. It works perfectly. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, that's so funny. Let's dig into August. I mean, we've been like chatting about the craziness of it. Let's just talk about some of the specifics that are going on. Where we have August 6th, Mars entering into Libra. So when Mars moves from Virgo to Libra, it's I don't know. Is it mad or is it happy? Is it? I mean, archetypally, is it a good? Is it a good energy? Is it a
so
good shift? Tell me.
so Mars in Libra is probably Mars is Mars is not very good in Libra, but personally, for my palate, Mars is much more preferable in Libra because we don't need anyone else. We don't need anyone else pouring gasoline on the fires. They're Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all setting all more fires than I could possibly handle in 1,000 lifetimes. I'm hoping Mars is low energy in Libra. I want it to be low energy. I don't need any other crises pointed out to me right now. There, I don't. I promise I have enough shit to sort through right now. I want that low energy. it's I don't I don't even, and it's not that, I mean, Mars doesn't really go that really well, Aries and Virgo doesn't really go that well together either. But uh, the Mars in Libra is at least a little bit more chill and a little bit more diplomatic about things, which is what we
Yes.
are desperately missing right now. It, it is. I'm telling you, the number of unhinged people out there that I see in public every day. It's
To me, Mars, I'm gonna roast the planets here. So to me, Mars and Libra is like writing an email, but making it like writing a polite email, but making it really passive aggressive. Like here is the email. It's supposed to be polite, but it's passive aggressive. It's like stabbing you. Or
yes.
yes, the idea of Mars in Libra, let's go, right? Mars wants to go, wants to move, it wants to make things happen, but in Libra it's like, but let's make it fair. That's Mars doesn't care about fair. Mars is like, I want to go, that's it.
Right.
I just want to
move. Mars in Libra is a work email to a coworker you don't like that much, but that you have to be nice to them,
right.
or Saturn won't be happy. So you have to be nice to them. Um, so Christine, yes, Mars is going to oppose Saturn and Neptune and Aries. So, but still, I would take an opposition can be low energy. I will
Really?
gladly take some low freaking energy at this point. Every,
Yeah,
every day does not have to be a scream fest from 5:30 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. It doesn't. It doesn't.
that's funny. Every day doesn't have to be a screen fest. Imagine. Yeah, okay. That's funny. But I mean, honestly, that Mars stays into Libra until when? When does it go out of Libra? I didn't pull up the list. Do you know, if by any
August.
chance?
It's August 6th.
Oh no, when does it leave Libra? Because it's in Libra for what? A month
Oh,
and a half?
it's yeah. Actually I love Mars and Scorpio. So
Well, Mars in Scorpio, it makes sense. Mars thrives in Scorpio. I mean,
actually, yeah, it does. How?
It's not necessarily an easy placement to have, like in your chart. It can make you intense.
Yeah.
As long as you're intense in a good way. I mean, it can go either way, right? But the intensity of it. But yeah, I like Mars and Scorpio.
I have that in my chart. I have Mars retrograde in Scorpio in my first house. So
just kidding.
That's
funny.
It should not be surprising. So September 22nd.
Oh, okay.
So that's the day. So the Sun will leave Virgo for Libra, and Mars leaves Libra for Scorpio, and Mercury has just entered Libra. Venus has just entered Virgo.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
Saturn has retrograded back into Pisces at that point. So I think that's going to be more diplomatic. Although
yeah.
I have to say I don't necessarily love Venus and Virgo, but
No, it's a hard placement for Virgo because it's so wants things to be so perfect, and when they're not, it
right.
gets to be like a struggle, right? So that's why, yeah. I mean, it's nothing is, I don't think, inherently bad or good. It is what it is.
No, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
but definitely they can be there can be challenges, more challenges with certain things. Like, for instance, if we were just talking about Saturn, Saturn return is notorious for changing our lives. Doesn't mean it's bad. No, yes, maybe, I don't know, but it switches us. It makes us move to something different. Yeah. So we'll have fun with Mars and Libra. It's better than Mars and Virgo. That's a little bit too
Right.
intense, in my personal
That's
opinion.
what and it's a little bit lower energy, which I think people, and two, Mars and Libra is about like working on achieving balance. And
Mhm.
there's not a lot of balance. There's very little balance out there right now. I mean, really, Mars and Virgo, and well, I guess Venus just to enter Cancer, but Jupiter's in Cancer. But I mean, there's not a lot of feminine energy out there. It's all masculine all day, all night, every day right now. It's it's just really just like you plow through as much as you can every day until like you're wiped out.
Yeah. Did you happen to look at the full moon chart for August 9th? August 9th is is it, yeah, August
I didn't.
9th. Yeah. I did, because I just
Did
pulled it
not.
up. It's actually opposite. Mars is actually exactly opposite of Saturn and Neptune that day, and then Pluto and Mercury are loosely opposite of each other. So they're making it, like, what do they call that? A rectangle, you know. So that day is going to be a lot of chaos, and then of course, there's a grand trine that Mars, Uranus, and Pluto are making at that time too, all 1 and 2 degrees, So there's so much going on. Pull up that chart when you get a chance. There's a kite, there's a grand trine, I mean, all of it. And then Saturn and Neptune are also going to Mercury. That has nothing to do with the full moon itself. The full moon is kind of like isolated here, but it is going on. The full moon is going on at the same time too. So it's a lot. It's a lot on that day, and Mars is kind of the key player. That's why I was thinking that's an interesting day to talk about. What time is the full moon? Do you know what time of day it is?
It is 3:55 in the morning.
Oh, so that'll be, yeah. But that day is going to just be full of a lot. You know, it seems like every
Uh,
one of the.
yeah, and two, so that is after the full moon starts one of those long void of course periods.
Yep.
So that the full moon's at 3:55 on Saturday morning on August 9th, and then it doesn't enter Pisces until 2:50 the next morning. So that's a 22-hour moon void of course. So people are so that August 9th is a bad day to like plan a party or a social event or something, because people are going to be dragging, because when the full moon's early in the morning or really late at night like that, people sleep, you sleep like shit. That's
Yeah.
I
Yeah. 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 You
followed
do.
this for 25
That,
years. People don't, and they're people are just dragging the day after the full moon. I call this the full moon hangover.
mm-hmm.
That's because you're drained afterwards, and then you've got the moon void, of course, the entire day after that whole Saturday. The moon's void after 3:55 in the morning. So
Oh. Oh. So
that
wow. Right after the full
Saturday,
moon.
yeah, that's the
Dang.
last aspect. Then it's void. So that Saturday, August 9th, should be like very low energy.
When does it go out of void? Is it Saturday or is it Sunday? Because
It's
everything is pretty
two
much like,
2:50 in the morning on Sunday morning.
yeah, I was gonna
So
say, so
that's
it's like 23 hours. So every single planet is like in such the early degrees that this is what's going on. When
yeah.
it's, yeah, it's amazing. Wow, wow, that's something else. You know, it happens. You know, okay, I do want to drag the planets a little bit here. I wrote some things out so I could remind myself to drag the planets because I think it's hysterical. So yeah, my drag for the August 9th full moon is, it's not personal, it's just my entire nervous system short circuiting in public. It's emotional detachment. Okay, so the moon is, of course, the moon is our emotions. It governs our emotions, and it comes from, this is a VA thing, it comes from our past, bringing that into present moment. Because if you think about our emotions only come from what we've experienced before. If we didn't know the joke, if we didn't know the materials to put the joke together, the joke wouldn't be funny. It'd be like, what does that mean? You know, right? So emotional detachment for this Aquarius full moon, check. Existential meltdown, also check. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where there's just so much all at one time, and it's probably going to feel like you're melted in a pile, in a puddle on the sidewalk somewhere, because it's super hot too. You know, it's August.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been ungodly humid and sticky up here. Like,
is it really?
brutal.
Yeah. I can only imagine, because seriously, here in South Florida, it's been dry. We have had, and not touch wood, we have had, like, honestly, we've had like so little water. Our water tables are down like by feet. Like, we get our water from Okeechobee, Lake Okeechobee, the big lake in the middle of the state, and it's down like several feet. Like, we normally are like abundantly full of water at this time of year. It's really weird. It's really strange.
So what? This is an aside question, but what do all the alligators do when the water levels down that low?
That's a, you know, I'll have to ask them next time I see them.
Okay.
I don't know. That might be when they jump in pools. I don't have a pool, so that does happen though. People have woke up and saw their pool. That's why they put these like around the pools. They put the
glass enclosure,
or
plastic enclosure.
Like, yeah, usually screened in enclosures. But yeah, I mean, I've literally seen videos of alligators like hopping, like, you know, cyclone fences, you know, just regular, like, just like, I'm going swimming. That's full. It's nuts, you know. It's really wild. Yeah. Wow. So, okay. So the full moon in Aquarius is going to be a lot. That is August 9th. And if you have anything at 17 degrees Aquarius, and guess who has something at 17 degrees Aquarius? Me.
Oh, it's
my Jupiter. Isn't that what you said?
Oh, that's right.
It's at 17 Aquarius.
Yeah, my part of fortune is 17 Aquarius. That's right. Your Jupiter's on my part of fortune.
Yes. And my Jupiter is, that's why we're so good together, talking online and, you know, for decades at this point. But yeah, so 17 degrees Aquarius. Yep. So if you have anything at 17 degrees or at 1 degrees, well, if you have something at 1 or 0 degrees of anything, you've been feeling it already. But this is going to be a wicked, intense full moon for you. Not necessarily wicked as in bad, but intense. Then we get the wonderful Mercury station direct. When we move on in the month, we get Mercury station direct on the 11th. So that happens a couple days after the full moon. Mercury stations direct at 4 degrees of Leo. So that's good. It didn't quite make it back to Pluto, which is also retrograde, but it is definitely going to be a reprieve for all of the intensity that's been going on. What are you feeling? I mean, I know you feel like, do you feel like the days, the station days, the days where it's actually really slow in the sky, those are the most intense days? Is that kind of the camp that you live in?
Yeah, I mean, when a planet stations for a week or so on either end, the energy of that planet is bigger. Now, to me, the Mercury Venus stations are probably the least powerful of those.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's like Mercury's mental processes. I mean, the Venus stations are nice, but like everything else, like it's like, um, well, we just had the Saturn and well, this goes into a whole nother. I'm going to save that. Um, yes, I'm just going to answer yes.
Just answer
Yeah.
yes. I mean, it is asked. If you
I,
pull up the chart for that day, I'm just kind of following along with the Sirius, my program, to look at the chart for that day. And honestly, it is so, it's so intense. There's like so much going on. It just continues. It doesn't end. It just doesn't end.
and and two, that's kind of a similar thing because I see people ask like, well, what's it mean when Mars is conjunct the North Node or Saturn's conjunct the North Node? Or, you get a lot of that same feeling too. That's like the energy of that planet that's conjunct one of the nodes is like really rough. It I can't think of the right word. It affects everything. It seeps into everything because like that's like Mars conjunct the North Node is going to be or here let's take Mars conjunct the South Node because we just actually had that a couple weeks ago. So Mars conjunct the South Node. That's the it becomes obvious how imperfect everything is. Mars in Virgo conjunct the South Node in Virgo.
Hmm.
It becomes just obvious how flawed everything is and how nothing works correctly because
Right. It's like it's almost like a magnifying glass put onto it to see that
yes,
there's all
yes,
of this is going on and you didn't even really realize it. Or maybe you did, you just are getting privy to seeing it. Yeah. It's wild. So when we move on to the next day, August 12th, we have Venus conjunct Jupiter, and that's at 14 Cancer. So that's actually a nice energy. That's probably the one good, thing, the one good thing. I sound like such
that is
a bad astrologer, like everything's so bad. I'm just kidding. But yeah, the one good thing
that is
is that happens this month.
easily the best aspect of the month.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. And
So especially if you have something in those degrees of water signs, um, that is where is that at? So that's at like 14 Cancer. If you have something aspecting, in a good way, 14 Cancer, like I'd say that August, right after the so Mercury goes direct on August 11th. I'm going to give you your prime dates for the month. Um, so Mercury goes direct at 3:30 in the morning on Monday, August 11th. However, the moon's void the entire day after that. That's a 27-hour moon void period. So I would say the from the morning of August 12th for the next few days after that, um, that's kind of the Venus Jupiter conjunction is very early in the morning on August 12th. So that August 12th, 13th, 14th, that's your that's your prime days for this month. If you have to do something really important or you have something you need to get going or you have a bunch of important stuff to do, that like August 12th through like 14th, that's your that's your prime real. You can go to the 15th or whatever. But that Venus Jupiter conjunction with Mercury direct and Mars in Libra now instead of Virgo. I mean that's your prime real estate is right there for this month. And then after we get to September 1st, Saturn's going to retrograde back into Pisces. But um, to me, that August 12th, we'll give it a week on the back end. That to me is easily the prime real estate for the month. If you've got big stuff to do, that's your best energy that you're gonna have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And if you have any Cancer planets around that degree, it will be sweet for you, which is 14 degrees. Yeah. I mean, it could be 14 or around 14. I don't have any water planets, so I'm just a waterless person. Not actually. Actually, my descendant is in water, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense because my parents are water people. Like half of my people are water people. You know, because I lack it. Maybe I don't know. Do you ever notice that? Like, you're not lacking a element, are you, in your chart?
Yeah, I have very little air and very little fire.
And I have one
I
planet
have
on fire. It's it. Everything is air. I have 7 planets in air, and then like one fire, and the rest is earth, and nothing in water. Yep,
yeah,
wild.
I'm all I'm all or almost entirely earth and water.
It's interesting. My
I
significant.
have I have Yeah,
Mhm.
I have Saturn in Aries and my ascendant is Libra. Everything else is earth and water.
Yeah, wow. It's interesting too because like I notice that I do attract people with water elements because it's something that, I am like deficient in, if you will. I don't know. If you're thinking about archetypally, that does make sense. And what's interesting is I have this abundance of air, no water, and my significant other, he has no air, and although he has a lot of earth, I think that's where we connect at, the earth in us. He has plenty of water and no air. So I'm like, that's so funny. We were kind of like giving each other what we don't have. And it works that way. It really makes sense because you get to understand, at least, or if you are able to communicate well, you get to understand what's going on in the domains that you are kind of like not necessarily having the easiest of ways to express yourself. And I think that's very true of the water lacking in my chart, the sensitivity. But you can learn. That's true. You can definitely learn. And you have a ton of water too. I mean, gosh, Mister Pisces.
No, I've got a water green trine that has
Yep.
7 1, 2, 3,
You're like
6
six planets.
planets, asteroids, whatever in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I was only talking about planets and such. I wasn't talking about asteroids because in asteroids I probably do have one in water, but there's a bazillion asteroids. So, but my Chiron is in fire, so that gives me a little more which I just recently had my Chiron return. Yay! So, okay, we move on a little
Oh,
bit.
Chiron just stationed
Yeah, yeah,
this
I know.
this morning.
What? Oh, so how long does Chiron stay in a sign for? Do you know? Because I don't know that off the top of my head.
Uh, Chiron is shit. It's either 26 or 52 years.
Oh wow,
It might be 26
to get
because
through.
it's right. Yeah, because Chiron's right between. It's close to Saturn,
Mm,
so I think it's 26 years.
okay, yeah, yeah. So it's like just right before Saturn. That makes sense. So okay, so we have like from August 12th when we have the Venus Jupiter conjunction, which is lovely, to August 22nd. So 10 days we don't have these major, other than what has already been going on, we don't have um, any planets moving signs, but we do on August 22nd have the sun moving into Virgo. Honestly, this is my favorite day of the whole year. Well, actually, I like this. I like the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, so I like December solstice. But this equinox, this is my one of my favorite days and the reason is because I love the winter, and that's the beginning of the fall, but it means that winter's coming. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, and then South Florida is no longer on fire, and it's like only a sauna instead of a fire, like a sauna with fire. So it starts to cool off a little bit, which is lovely. I am grateful when
Yeah,
the sun moves. Yes.
you have no reason to hate winter down there.
Oh no, no reason to hate winter. When it's really funny because I actually just talked about this as if it was September. I'm already jumping ahead a month. That's hysterical because I'm like, oh yeah, this is when. So I'm completely wrong when what I just said. It's not this. It's not the equinox until September, but I was dreaming about that. So sorry, Mercury retrograde just.
I have the same I have the same screw up in my head to where I can't, like, because I'm the last degree of Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, in my brain, I always think that because I'm born on the first day of spring.
Right.
So I think Pisces being a spring sign, but it's not. Pisces is the last sign of winter. And
Right.
no
It
matter
is.
how many times I correct that in my head, I can't. I still think, oh, Pisces is spring.
Right.
Like, no, just my birthday is the first day of spring, but it's
Yeah.
not. Pisces is the last winter sign.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
I'll
yeah,
be saying that.
I think that too with the Virgo, because it's like I think August 22nd. I think that's around when people should be going back to school, and you think school time, you think fall, you think end of summer, but it does. Yeah, summer doesn't end until September 22nd or whatever.
Yeah, it isn't until September 22nd, right? But I'm just dreaming. I really like that song, "Wake Me Up When September Comes." I think that's like me. I want to sleep through the winter. I mean, the summer. I said that to somebody yesterday, which was funny. I was talking to my niece. And by the way, I will say this because I know she does watch the podcast, but it was the cutest thing in the whole wide world. My aunt called me yesterday and she starts telling me about Mercury retrograde. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. She's in her 70s and she's like, but this is what happens when Mercury retrograde happens. And I'm like, oh, you are like, it was adorable because, I'm not an astrologer and she just knows that I am. But I think that was really neat. And she's like, I know better than to do things during Mercury retrograde, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you are just adorable. I think at any age you can learn and understand what's going on in the skies. So, yeah, cool beans. So, dun dun. Now, August 22nd, the sun enters into Virgo. It enters into Virgo then. And what are you feeling about what shift is going to take place when the sun enters Virgo? So, it's in a feminine sign.
So to me, so Virgo comes after Leo, so that Virgo is cleaning up after the party.
That's a good way to put
That's
it.
what it. So that's what it is. Leo's the party, and the Virgo is the cleanup afterwards. So, um, it's a time. I think making kids go back to school while it's still Leo season is criminal. Like, I think we should very firmly just go with the astrology on this, and that's when people should go back to school. Is like the 22nd or 23rd, or later even. Um, so to me, I mean, it's a settling down of things. So like you have to force yourself to, your mindset. It's easier to get focused and to, it kind of signals even though there's still a month left of summer, it kind of signals the end of summer, but it's time to start, getting into your fall routines,
Yeah,
whether
it's
you're
really weird.
involved with school or sports or whatever. That's kind of the ramping up of that kind of social stuff. And then, you're not that far from Halloween at that point,
Yeah,
once you get to,
and that's the best day of the year, of course.
yes, it is.
So it's
So
go on.
go ahead, because I've got a rant. So
Okay, so I do too.
finish.
I have a little one too. So it's a meme that I saw that I don't know if it's really real or not, but it was really really funny. It was a picture of a screenshot of a text, and it was like, I'm sorry, I forgot what the girl's name was. I'm sorry, so and so, but we just went out on a first date and it was great, but you ate all of your food and I can't believe you did that. I really would have liked you, but you ate all of your salad. You know, you're supposed to be more ladylike on a first date. It was going on about it. And that's what it makes me think of Sun and Virgo, like a roast, right? Like the idea of like, they're
Yeah,
thinking a little bit, you know, like, hey, I like you, but like you just ate your whole salad on our first date. It's kind of funny. It's like, I'm sorry, but I think you'll be heavy in a few years. You look great now, but do you know what I'm like? Oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing
right,
ever. Did you see
right.
that meme? It was like, I saw it in a few
I
different
think
places.
I did. Definitely backhanded compliment. I think is.
Yes, it
Uh,
was really definitely backhanded compliment. But I mean, it made me think of Sun and Virgo because Sun and Virgo would notice those little things. You know, like I don't think most people would pay attention to what you're eating if you go on a date. Maybe they would, but maybe a Virgo would. But the idea of just
right.
that, so it's kind of funny. Yeah, but you know, it
Okay.
is the
I
time to make improvement a good thing. I think that's a good positive thing for Virgo energy, self improvement, but just be balanced with it, not too over the top. Because
yeah.
yeah. Now,
Okay.
what's your soapbox? I'm giving it to
I
you.
have one. I have one rant that is actually it's actually two rants combined into one. Um, deep breath, Om. So I don't sound like a crazy person. Okay, this is. I have two things that make me nuts, and they tend to converge this time of year. One is the Lion's Gate.
Oh God,
So so while the Lion's Gate is a thing with like where the sun conjuncts Sirius and Pleiades and you know conjuncts these the brightest stars and stuff and they're the Lion's Gate is not really a big real astrological thing.
right.
I had never ever heard of it until August 8th of 2015, where numerology wise, that August 8th of 2015, that did end up being 888 in the numerology. But that's the first time I ever heard of the Lion's Gate was 2015. And I really think that someone just kind of made that up. Um, so like for numerology purposes, that was a real thing. I think that was 888. But I see people have continued it every year, and like sometimes they'll leave off the year, like if it's 2022 or 20, you know, something that doesn't end up eight, they'll just leave the year off. So it's like that kind of
Doesn't make
ruins it.
sense.
It's not really,
Right.
yeah. And so my problem this year is I'm seeing people post about the Lions Gate, and it's this great Leo time period and all this stuff. And it's like, I, I have to tell you that Mercury's retrograde right now, and it's in Leo, and Mercury's conjunct the Sun retrograde. It was exact. In fact, it was exact last night that the Sun and Mercury were conjunct retrograde. So this is not a fantabulous. If you're expecting blessings from the universe to show your dramatic, exquisite talent or something, like this is not the I hate to be Satan here, but I have to break it to you. This is not the year you don't want the sun the Mercury retrograde conjunct. I know I'm babbling like an idiot now. I tried to stop it by
Don't stop
so
it.
Mercury conjunct the sun kind of it kind of nullifies the Lionsgate thing, which was sketchy to start with. That was kind of a numerology thing for 2015. That all of this cosmic fluff I see about the Lionsgate is not. I just want people to temper their expectations. The Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde in Leo is not a auspicious, great portend of things to come in the near future. It's not. I'm sorry to burst the bubble.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this I have to I have to dovetail something onto the back of that. And this is, I'm sure I'm going to upset. I've already upset people, I'm sure. Um, TikTok astrologers and people who claim to be astrologers that don't have a fucking hard copy of an ephemeris.
Yeah.
I every week, always, I see so many bad astrology posts where I know that they're using an app and it's got the wrong days and stuff on it.
And they
They
do a
put,
lot of times. It's weird.
and it's constant. I have to forcefully just go by it, and I don't even say anything. I don't even try to. I used to give like friendly corrections. Like, hey, that stuff you posted is wrong. I give up. I give. Post all the wrong stuff you want. If you, every astrologer has to have a. Of course, I don't have the good one up here, but you have that. This is how you learn astrology. Is you get a copy of your birth chart and you flip through the ephemeris and you go, oh, this is when my dad died. This is what was happening. This is
Mhm.
when my parents got divorced. That's what was happening. That's when I got married. That's what was happening. That's when I got fired from my job. That's how you miss so much stuff when all you have is an app you're going off of. And I'm tired of being quiet about it.
Yeah. Honestly, so what what the Lion's Gate really is, it comes from Egypt. It comes from the Egyptians. And it did at one point line up. I went on this big, huge deep dive because I was like, yeah, he's not wrong. And why on earth is this like a thing? So I mean, it was at one point that um, Sirius and the sun would rise at the same time, but that's gone. That is it because the movement of the stars. I'm doing fixed stars research. I understand them very deeply. It does not rise at the same time. So um, the it is not in the same alignment like it used to be when it was Egyptian time, right? So that's just the reality of it. And I know I agree with you. It's really difficult to deal with. The people who are TikTok astrologers because they're doing something different. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I mean, yeah, I'm going to say it's bad because it's bad astrology because it's not really astrology. Not all of them, of course, but like I have friends that will say
Right,
to
there's
me,
exceptions.
what?
Yeah, no, there's exceptions, but
There's exceptions. Yeah,
most of
like
the
I do know, like I mean, I even know like a vibrational astrologer that I know he's talking like serious stuff there. But the majority of them that, it's really annoying. So the Lionsgate portal basically is a, they say it's a powerful time of manifestation, spiritual downloads, DNA upgrades, and angel codes and galactic activations. I've heard all of those things, and it peaks on 8/8. But when the sun, it's what they say is when the sun aligns with the sign in the sign of Leo with Sirius, right? And it sounds epic when you put it that way, but what's actually happening is not that. The astronomy, Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky, and it does have a significant astronomical moment called the heliacal rising. And that is when Sirius first becomes visible on the eastern horizon before sunrise after being obscured by the sun's light for months. But the thing of it is, ancient Egyptians observed this very, very carefully. I mean, look what they did. But for them, the heliacal rising of Sirius was linked to the annual flooding of the Nile, which is the literal lifeline of what the Egyptian culture was about. So it had real world consequences, and it was localized to where they lived. The thing is, the heliacal rising of Sirius does not happen globally on 8/8. It depends entirely on your latitude. And so in Cairo, it's closer to July in Cairo, Egypt. And in other places, it can happen early in August or it can happen later in August. So the idea of it all being this like, portal and blah, 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 it's really just not a thing. And yes, from a numerology level, 8 is a powerful number. It is the infinity symbol. But again, we're not talking about ancient mysticism. We're talking about astrology. It's a modern, this whole idea of the Lionsgate portal is a modern spiritual remix. It's not traditional astrology even, or Egyptian ritual or anything like that. It's just not. It's actually, and not to mention the astrology part of it, because the astrology is, it is what it is. So really, it's just branding. A new age invention. And I'm not saying like inventions are bad or anything like that, but let's just call it what it is. That like this does kind of like get under my skin, because I'm an evidence-based astrologer too. So like a lot of astrology of the new age gets under my skin, but like, hey, it is what it is. But it went viral in like the early 2000s or so. I guess when you said you heard about it was the 2015. But I think that's just, it's just important to know that this is something that, we're not necessarily really dealing with. It's just something that people are, coming to a space of like, hey, this is great branding. Let's use that. It's kind of like people that use sex as branding. That makes me so mad, because it's like, you're not actually selling whatever you're selling. You're selling sex, like that's the, like, people, right. Companies do that all the time. And that gets under my Capricorn moon's energy so hard, because I'm like, sell me what you're selling me. Don't sell me something that has nothing to do with what you're selling me. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like that. To me, it's kind of like a lie, So yeah, there's my
don't have a half naked woman selling me candy bars.
Yeah, for real.
Those are not, those don't really go together.
Yeah, I actually did.
And to my proof of the Lionsgate too is show me an astrology book that's not written by AI in the last 2 years. Show me an astrology book that has any mention of the Lionsgate in it.
Yeah, you're not going to.
No Peel, Jeffrey Green, Alan Oak, anybody.
No.
Any astrologer.
I have a ton
any astrologer that has anything about the Lionsgate in any of their books.
No, none of them. Really, literally, it's literally a made up thing. And you know how, okay, so I don't know if you realize this, like how Google, it's specifically, I see this on, makes up like a thing for every day. Right? So like it's World Donut Day or something, or World Chocolate Day or something, like come on. Okay, I get it. We're just making every day special. Right. Fine, whatever. They really mean absolutely nothing. But that's literally like what the Lionsgate is. It's just like made up BS. And honestly, in my personal opinion, you don't need some kind of portal to go through to be a good person and to like, level up. I think you need a plan, and you need actually maybe some protein too, because that always helps too. But a plan, protein, and a good astrologer, and that will help you to get to where you need to go. Because otherwise, you're just kind of like winging it, and winging it does work. Like a lot of people wing it, but I think that the idea, if you're going to call it astrology, you should call it astrology. It is what it is, right? But it's the Lionsgate itself is not a thing anymore. That is for sure. Yeah. Interesting. So. So that is our soapbox for the day. Thank you guys for coming to our TED Talk in the middle of our forecast show. But after the Lionsgate, what's that?
I said I had to get that out. I was going to explode.
I don't blame you. And maybe we'll like clip it or something, and we'll put it up there and make everybody really angry. We'll put it on TikTok or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That will make
Absolutely.
everyone mad.
Well,
It's
put a lion face thing on me. The
the face of a
the
lion. That's
coward.
hysterical.
We'll call it the Cowardly Lion's Gate.
That's hysterical. That cracks me up. So, okay, let's move on. Last couple of things we're going to talk about for August.
Yes. Let's move on.
After our soapbox there, August 23rd was we have the moon and sun conjunction, which is the new moon in Virgo. So, I mean, new moons to me are kind of like low energy days. What are you feeling about that?
Yep.
Same thing.
Absolutely. I tend, yes, I feel nothing about the new moons usually.
Really?
Yes, the new moons are very low energy, almost all the time. Um, I did put that in there though, just since because that happens like the day after the sun enters Virgo.
Right.
So I did feel it was interesting enough
It's
to
interesting.
mention that that's kind of the
It's interesting.
beginning of
I
Virgo season. You know,
just wanted to point
and
out that there's a quincunx with the moon and with the new moon and Saturn Neptune at the time. So like they're
oh
exact
yeah,
at some point. So there's a quincunx. So the quincunxes to me are where they're not like hearing each other. The planets aren't hearing each other, right? Isn't that how you would look at it too? Yeah.
yes, the
They're
quincunxes are some adjustment needed.
some adjustment needed. So that might be significant in the sense that it's an idea of adjusting something within yourself. And there's also a semi-sextile to Jupiter, which is another semi-sextile or semi-square, sorry, to Jupiter, and another Jupiter has a semi-square to Uranus, and then there's a square to Uranus and the new moon. So it might be a little charged for that reason, but you know, I definitely agree. I think new moons are generally lower energy. Yeah, not too intense. It's just that this one has that quincunx. And then on August 25th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Leo. So, what do you think about Venus in Leo?
That's so that's just another one of the like strange dichotomies we're going through this year. We're like sun enters Virgo, moon enters Virgo. We just end, you know, just 2 weeks before that, we just ended the Mars and Virgo transit. Now we have like Venus coming up from behind. It's just now entering Leo, so that kind of can make some of the uh, maybe it can lessen some of the Virgo harshness of whatever
Yeah,
getting your schedules changed and people starting school again and stuff like that. But there can still be a little party involved with all the Virgoing.
yeah. The only problem with that is that it becomes at 0 degrees when it goes into Leo. And that means it's making a trine to the Saturn Neptune and making a sextile to what is it to Uranus. So it is making this pattern here that
And
is
it is
also going to be activated again. But at least
yeah,
at least it's Venus.
Venus,
So that's a good thing. So Venus
and
is
it may be making a sextile to Uranus also.
yeah, a sextile to Uranus also. Yep, Uranus and then so it's like these patterns keep going, and that of course does also make an opposition to Pluto, which is at 1 degree Aquarius at that time. So it's right there, which is interesting. So if you have, I mean, honestly, the whole sum of this show is like if you have any planets in the early degrees of any sign, have fun this month.
And we do.
I know. I'm like,
And we both do.
I'm gonna cry. No, I'm just kidding. Truly, we both do. We're like, I mean, we've been getting hammered though, like for real, that like by multiple planets like over the last year or so. It's been interesting to say the least.
Oh yeah, since 2020, it's just been
Nonstop.
an ass kicking. Yeah.
Yes, it really has been. It's interesting. So, if you were going
Uh,
to roll us all into one for this month, how would you do that? How would you wrap it up and say, "Hey,
and so again, I think there's nothing overly traumatic within itself of August, but I think there's just so much chaos generated by the four outer planets all aspecting each other that it's just more unfolding of that, figuring out like what you need to work on in the fall. Because again, September 1st, Saturn retrogrades back into Pisces. So then there'll be the possibility for some reflection and how to figure stuff out and see what needs fixed. Um, so really it's like observe, reflect, make diagnoses, make corrections
um,
over the next, you know, 5 months after we get to September.
compared to just out of curiosity, compared to August, September is also chill, or is there a lot of craziness going? I haven't looked ahead at
Oh,
September.
it so I would I would say as far as like the transits for this year, like power wise, I would say it was like that April area, then the July area,
Hmm.
and then I would say I'd say September is definitely the other top three of, because we have those eclipses at very key degrees in
Yep.
Virgo.
Yeah.
Especially, I think there's one at 29 Virgo. There's the first eclipse is at 15 Pisces, and the second eclipse is like right on the solstice, right when we start fall, and that eclipse is at 29 Virgo. And I would say that that one is probably going to be really substantial, just because
Yeah.
that's going to be, you know, right conjunct the solstice degree, and that's also going to be, sextile Uranus, sextile Neptune, or no, opposite Neptune, opposite Saturn, sextile to Uranus. So I'd say, and on the solstice point, I'd say that's definitely the biggest one of the two, I would say.
Yeah, that's gonna mark a cycle, a new cycle, right? Or tap into a cycle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
or
So August is basically like a more like prepare for September, which is going to be more chaotic, more intense because of the specifically because of the eclipses.
yeah, that's what I would say. August is more like be aware of what's going on, but it's probably not the time to act on it. Except for, if you do have to act on stuff, that August 12th through 19th period is definitely your prime time uh, area to work on stuff. Um, the, the the other thing I wanted to bring up is um, the Saturn Neptune being conjunct and stationing retrograde. Um, so I'm aware that people die all the time, and I'm sure there's so many celebrities and stuff that
Oh my gosh, yeah,
somebody dies. So, but I mean, you had definitely one of the, if not the big, definitely one of the biggest rock stars of all time died. And then the
Oh,
most famous professional wrestler of all time. And
yeah.
they died within like 2 days of each other. Then you had one of the most famous whatever, saxophone players, Chuck Mangione. He died. That was all within like a 3 day period. And then you had Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was pretty big act. I mean, you had all those people dying. You know, uh, that started like what, 2 weeks after the Saturn Neptune. Um, well, 2 weeks after the Neptune station and 1 week after the Saturn station, I think, is when
Hmm.
all that. So that I just, well, that's kind of what I've been telling people has been coming, or we've both been telling people has been coming, is Saturn and Neptune at the end of Pisces and then beginning of Aries and then retrograding back to the end of Pisces and then into Aries. All this backing and forth thing. This is the Great Reset. This is this is how that works.
Yeah. The
Is you'll see
changing,
people, the old people who were the leaders of things passing away,
passing the
and
torch.
then
Yeah.
new people, new leaders and stuff will start emerging with this. And I would say we're going to see, again, I know there's celebrities that die all the time, but I think when you have two humongous people like that die within like 2 days of each other,
Yeah, that's
I
like
mean,
that
that
was
was,
really weird. I was surprised to see that, you know.
yeah, I mean, I kind of figured Ozzy was going to go shortly because they kind of rushed to put on the concert,
Yeah, and he
whatever,
wasn't
12
doing good,
days or
I don't
something
think.
before that.
Yeah.
No, I think they tried to get that event in as fast as they could because
Mm.
I just heard, bad reports on his health leading up to that. So like I think they wanted him to be able to go out with I mean, he only lived like whatever 12 days or whatever after that. So I think we're between now and next spring, once these outer planets move into the signs they're in now for good, I think we're going to see a lot of the really big, high profile people, transitioning into their next world or next. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are, a lot of like exceptionally big names that are going to go in the next like 6 months.
Mm.
So that's
It's interesting.
that's where I see that heading.
Wow. The changing of the guards, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And then Saturn and Neptune stationing, at the same degree of the same sign. I mean, that's, I've been trying to tell people this is like not just once in a lifetime energy. This is once in, 100 lifetime energy, like happening right now, and
Yeah,
we're living through it.
exactly. We're living through this time period when things are completely, shifting, and this isn't something that happens like, every couple of years. It's a big one. I mean, these outer planets are like the dynamics of the
Yeah,
shift that they're able to move is it's really unbelievable. It really is because it moves us from one place to another, and we can see that obviously on many different levels of our lives these days. So
yeah. I mean,
obviously,
we can see like the cultural revolution shifts that happened like in the 1960s with the Uranus Pluto conjunction, and they were both
yeah,
sextile to Neptune. And then we had the Uranus Neptune conjunction in Capricorn in the 1990s and stuff like that. So we see, but even those, we didn't, I mean, we've got the four outermost planets are all just completely lined up. This is we're in a different world, and it's once we get into next spring where we're in a complete different reality.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's that Saturn is making its rounds. It did its conjunction with Pluto in 2020, and it's said, okay, and it's going to be in Capricorn. When you think about it from this level, it's in Capricorn, and we had Jupiter and Mars like come in, and then we all know what happened in 2020. No need to repeat any of that. We all lived through it. But it was like structures that are going on, that have been going on for millennia, not millennia maybe, but like for a long time. Anytime that any of us have been alive, structures like this have been happening. Guess what? We're going to rip them up. We're going to tear them down. We're going to dismantle them. And now, fast forward in 2025, we are, and here is Saturn doing his thing, coming up to make his conjunction with Neptune in the first degree of the zodiac. And why is that important? Because it's based on the seasons. That's why tropical astrology is what tropical astrology is. It's based on the season. It's the beginning of the zodiac, so the beginning of the new year, and that's what Mark and I have been on our soapbox for that for decades at this point. But it's the beginning of the new year, and we're starting something new, and we have Saturn and we have Neptune being our dreams, our ideals, what we're chasing, what we want to have materialize in our life. That's the Saturn energy. Now we're getting a chance to rebuild those structures. So I expect to see that more and more as we get closer to the and we have been seeing that. I mean, we have been seeing that in different levels, you know, and I think that a lot we might not even be, we might intellectually be aware of it, but we might not be aware of it until it happens so much. Some of us at least will have to do with the AI systems and the things that AI is doing for us, you know, because that's the untouchable part of it, right? That's the part that it's going to change us whether we like it or not. Like, think about this for a moment. I'm old enough, you're old enough, probably everybody listening is old enough or close to old enough to know a time when there wasn't an internet, when there wasn't a time when we were walking around with these things in our hands all day long, right? There was a time when we just lived our lives, right? But that shifted and it reformed the entire way that we live. The internet did. Then it reformed when we started walking around with phones, right? So everything started to shift. This is going to be another one of those things. That can be clocked by astrology as well. You know, this is the changing of things. And so you might not realize it right now, but there is things that will be morphing us into something new, and that will take us on to the next level, you know, and that's something that I think, you know, it's interesting and wise to look at, and maybe not even to discard so quickly, because eventually it's going to be something along the lines of when credit cards started being a thing, for instance, right? People were like, old school people were like, I will never, my parents are still like this. I'm still writing like regular checks for my parents, you know, they don't want to use a credit card because like that's a weird thing. But I mean, even before then, you know, like that's what happens, and you're forced upon it now. Like now, I mean, you could still write a check, but who has checks anymore? Like, I mean, I don't even think my kids maybe ever wrote checks, you know, like it just doesn't happen. So it's like you're kind of in this place where things are changing whether you like it or not. And I think looking at it and understanding that the new guard, making sure it's not like, you know, you're taking on something crazy like, say, the mark of the beast. We don't want that, but we have to understand that we're changing and change with it, you know, instead of holding on to something that, you know, is not necessarily going to serve us going forward, you know. And that's good and bad. I mean, it's all good and bad, right? We always have to make our decisions on what we want to do. Do we want to hold on to the check writing situation and mail things with a stamp? Like, I have stamps, like, I'm not even kidding you, I have stamps probably that are like 15 years old because I don't mail anything anymore. Like, I just, like, they were forever stamps is what they called them, because, you know, they change the prices of the stamps all the time. So I'm like, okay, they were a little more to buy them forever stamps, but then, like, if I mail something in 20 years, it still works, you know. I'm like, but the point is like, it changes, you know, and it's like, don't hold on too much to what was the past, because I think that's when we get into the struggle. We get to the point where we're like, oh no, this isn't right. We're getting anxiety, we're frustrated, or we're not knowing where to put ourselves, but it's because we're holding too closely to something that needs to shift, and hopefully shift in a good way. But I feel like we don't even know what's coming next. We didn't know that the internet was going to come along and change us like it did in the 90s. I mean, it came along before then, but we didn't know it was, public until the 90s. We didn't know our phones were going to come along and they were going to change us until they did. And then we had phones, and then it was like, oh, smartphones. Wait a second, that's another next level thing, because now we're basically holding computers. You know what I mean? Like, some people don't have computers; they just have phones. I couldn't do that. I'm a dinosaur at this point because I want a dang computer.
Right.
Like, I don't want to do nothing on my phone. I do, but I don't want to do nothing on my phone. If I could do it on my computer, way better, because the phone is just like, it's a pain. So what is the next level thing? We're starting to get glimpses of that. If you pay attention in the news, you'll start seeing little glimpses of it, but it takes time to unfold. It takes time to unpack. And I think that's what this Saturn conjuncting Neptune is going to give us the next level thing of. So yeah, there's my soapbox.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought a box of checks. Like when I moved out here, like probably 4 or 5 years ago, I bought a box of checks. Has your name and address pre-printed. I mean, I don't think I've used more than like maybe 5. I use maybe one physical check a year that I mail. Maybe one.
Wow. Yeah,
And
I don't at all. I don't use personal checks at all. Like, I haven't for so long. I don't know. When I switched to a credit union, like 12 years ago or something, I never got checks from them, and I never got checks I have another bank account, like a regular bank, and I never got checks from them because I was like, why? What's the point? It's like, for me, they're obsolete. I guess I could ask for them for checks, but it is what it is. That's so funny. Christina's like, I heard you said you had a box of checks, and I heard checks mix. She must be hungry. It's dinner time, right? Or lunchtime. Funny, very funny.
yeah, it's funny. You look back at like because I can remember the first computer I got and stuff,
Yeah. Oh my
and
God.
it it seemed like it took a really long time for like all of that to get going. I mean, maybe they just had to wait till most people had one and had to get used to it. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like there was very little development for the first few years that like, home computers came out. I mean, it was probably. I mean, I got my first one probably in 1990. Like 1998 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's probably something like that. Um, but yeah, it seemed like it just took maybe a few years before that, maybe like 93 or something. Um, but then like after that, it just um, like like now it's like every 2 months it feels like technology on the whole is like completely different than it was 2 months ago. It's just
Yeah,
like exponentially
it really was. It really
expanding and
is.
growing.
And I grew up with computers because my dad was a graphics designer, so we had computers in the 80s when
Oh,
but that was not online. There was no online there. And I remember playing this DOS game, which is like where it was basically like SimCity but without graphics, where you're managing a city and you're just doing the math
yeah.
stuff. And I was such a nerd. I played it. I think that was on an Apple machine, but like it didn't do any graphics or anything like that. And I grew up with computers and tech from my father, and he was always into that. But we were not online until like middle of the 90s. Like, just none of it. It was just like making graphics. But he had a computer that didn't even have a hard drive. It had these like discs, not little discs, but it had discs that you put in and took out that was your hard drive, the disc. It's really weird. And then he had like just ones that were it's all of them, all of the things. So It's interesting though. Technology really does change a lot and it seems like it's expedited over time. You know, like in 3 months we'll change. 3 months in a year from now will be like a month now. You know what I mean? Like a month of time now. So it's like it keeps compounding on itself. So it's like you can't keep up with it really. You just try to do the best that you can. And you know, like every time you turn around, something is upgrading something with this new thing, you know? Like, and it's like, oh, okay, I just learned that thing, but now it's obsolete and like, you know, it's weird. But it does happen. It's amazing how our technology is moving so quickly. Yeah. We'll be the Justins soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was a fun show. Thank you, as always, Mark, for being my partner in this. This is fun. And everyone for watching that stuck around and hung out with us. Christina, everybody in the chat, thanks a lot. Yeah, we'll see you next month, or we'll probably see you at the end of this month, or at the end of August, to do September's. And again, if you guys want to reach out to us, Mark does amazing consultations. I'm teaching an astrology program starting in September. I'll talk about it again in September, but it's mid-September. If you're interested in learning, let us know, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.